The Montgomery estate carries the scent of pine and cinnamon, though it might as well be formaldehyde. I stand in the center of the living room, holding a cream-colored gift box tied with a silk ribbon, unable to look away from its contents. Inside is a lifetime VIP membership to Last Chance Love, an app clearly aimed at singles over 30 who feel desperate. Beneath it lies a hardcover book with embossed gold letters, How to Find Happiness When You Die Alone. A.T. The fire crackles in the marble fireplace behind me. Outside the French windows, snow falls in thick, silent layers, blanketing the meticulously maintained grounds. Yet inside, the cold has nothing to do with December weather. Bella giggles, a sharp, high sound that bounces off the vaulted ceiling like breaking glass. I saw it on TikTok. The reviews were amazing. 5 stars for women who've given up on traditional dating, my sister says, her voice dripping with false sweetness. I don't look up. My gaze remains fixed on the app card, its horrible pink design and cartoon of a wilting flower meant to symbolize women like me, women who've supposedly expired. Take it, dear. My mother's voice cuts through the room. Trinity Montgomery sits on the ivory settee, her posture rigid, almost carved from the same marble as the fireplace. Bella's just worried about your future. Don't let your ego make you a spinster forever. My father stays silent. Richard Montgomery stands by the bar cart, swirling bourbon in a crystal glass, examining the amber liquid as if it held answers he isn't inclined to share. Harrison Sterling, his business partner, shifts uneasily in the leather armchair, while Bella's fiancé, Preston Sterling, studies his phone with intense focus. I close the box slowly. My hands remain steady, though something inside me feels like it's splitting. 8 months have passed since I sent those invitations, spent 3 nights at my dining table in Austin choosing the perfect cardstock and tying velvet ribbons by hand, 300-gram weight, the kind that whispers quality. Nate watched me from the doorway, arms crossed. Are you sure you don't need to call them? He asked. I tied another ribbon into a perfect bow. They're my parents. They wouldn't miss this. The memory sits like a stone in my throat. I delayed the ceremony 30 minutes, staring at the 2 empty front row chairs reserved for my parents. I'd painted small wooden plaques, decorated with wildflowers, remembering my mother's offhand comment about liking daisies 7 years ago. I remember everything they forgot. Well, Bella leans forward on the sofa, her blonde hair spilling over one shoulder. Her engagement ring catches the firelight, a 3-carat diamond worth more than my entire wedding. Aren't you going to say thank you? Her words lodge in my throat. Part of me wants to scream, to bolt through the massive oak doors and fly back to Austin where Nate is probably heating leftover Thai food and wondering if I'm okay. But I'm tired of running. Harrison clears his throat. Perhaps we should move on to dinner, he suggests, voice carefully neutral. I believe the caterers have everything ready in the dining room. Bella smirks. She knows she's won this round. She usually does. But this time, something inside me doesn't break. It snaps. Not my heart, which has been breaking in this house for as long as I can remember, but something else entirely. No. What finally snaps isn't the gift itself. It's the weight I've carried for 29 years, the chain stamped with good daughter and second best, whispers of maybe if you tried harder. I look up, my eyes meet Bella's, and I notice her triumphant smile falter just slightly. There's something in my expression she doesn't recognize, something cold, clear, and resolute. Thank you, Bella, I say. My voice is calm, almost pleasant. I hold the box carefully under my arm, pressing it to my ribs as if it were evidence, because that's exactly what it feels like. Trinity frowns. Caroline, don't be dramatic. It's just a thoughtful gift. Oh, I know, I reply, smiling. The feeling is foreign, as if I'm wearing someone else's mouth. Very thoughtful. Very valuable. Richard finally looks at me, his gray eyebrows knitting together. Caroline! It's a warning, the same tone he used when I was 16, suggesting maybe Bella shouldn't get a BMW for her first car while I got a 10-year-old Honda. A tone that says, don't make a scene. Don't embarrass us. Don't exist too loudly where your sister is meant to shine. I hold his gaze. Yes, Dad. He opens his mouth, then closes it, returning to his bourbon. Preston Sterling rises abruptly, shoving his phone into his jacket pocket. I need some air, he mutters, moving toward the terrace doors. Bella's smile falters. "Preston, it's freezing out there." He pauses, the cold air spilling in, then exhales resignedly and rejoins the procession to the dining room. But he's already gone, and in that moment, I understand, he's uncomfortable. Any decent person would be. "Shall we?" Harrison gestures toward the dining room, tension evident in his tight shoulders. The chandelier scatters diamond-like patterns across the white linen tablecloth. Trinity taps her spoon against her crystal water glass, the sound slicing through polite chatter. Before the meal begins, my mother's voice rises, pitched for the audience. I want to toast this very special season, the year of the bride. I watch Bella straighten in her chair, her rehearsed smile blooming, as if she's been waiting for this cue her whole life. "My youngest daughter," Trinity continues, lifting her wine glass toward Bella, "will be married this February in what I can only describe as a modern royal event. 300 guests, the ballroom at the Four Seasons, a dress that took 6 months to design." Preston shifts beside Bella, jaw tight. Harrison studies a salad fork with the intensity of an archaeologist inspecting a rare artifact. "Bella has always known how to do things properly," Trinity says, and the word properly lands on my skin like a slap. "With grace, with consideration for family." My father lifts his bourbon in agreement. He hasn't looked at me once since we sat down. I cut into my filet mignon. The knife moves through the meat with almost no effort, but my hand feels locked around the handle. Trinity sets down her glass with a soft tap. Her eyes shift toward me, carrying a familiar shine. She's about to start her routine. "Bella is settled," she says, her tone coated with practiced concern. "But what about you, Caroline? You're turning 30. You don't plan to live with plants forever, do you?" The table falls silent. Even the catering staff refilling water near the sideboard seem to pause mid-pour. "When is it your turn?" Trinity asks. The question hangs there like a cloud. I sense Preston glance at me briefly before looking away. Harrison clears his throat but stays quiet. Bella leans forward slightly, wearing an expression that could be mistaken for sisterly interest if you didn't know her. But I do. I notice the anticipation in the way her fingers tighten around her wine glass. She's waiting for me to crumble, to hesitate, to offer some predictable excuse about focusing on my career or not meeting the right person. I set my silverware down. The sound of metal against porcelain feels too loud. "I'm not single, Mother." The words come out steady, almost casual, like I'm noting the weather. Trinity blinks. "Excuse me? I've been married for 8 months. My mother's face cycles through 3 clear expressions in seconds: confusion, disbelief, anger. "Liar." The word bursts out before she can stop it. Her hand hits the table, making the silverware shake. "Why didn't anyone know? You eloped in Vegas, didn't you? Is that why you've been distant?" "I didn't elope in Vegas." Bella has gone pale, but she recovers quickly. She always does. "Are you inventing stories to ruin my engagement party?" Her voice cracks just enough to sound hurt and shocked. "You've always been jealous, Caroline, but this is low even for you." She grabs Preston's arm. "Can you believe this?" But Preston is looking at me, his attorney mind running calculations I can't fully interpret. "I sent invitations," I say. My tone hasn't changed. It almost sounds uninterested, which is strange given how hard my heart is pounding. FedEx overnight. In February. My father's glass hits the table hard, bourbon spilling over the edge. "If you sent invitations and got no response, why didn't you call?" His face is red, the vein in his temple pulsing. "You did this on purpose, didn't you? To embarrass us in front of the Sterlings?" And there it is. The truth I've been circling for 8 months. The one I didn't want to face even as the evidence accumulated around me like snow blocking a doorway. They didn't forget. They're gaslighting me. Right here. In front of everyone. Rewriting the past while I sit here with proof they don't know about yet. The last bit of hope I'd been holding, one I didn't realize still existed, slips away. Something shifts inside me. The architect in me takes control, the part that understands blueprints, weight distribution, and exactly where pressure must be applied for a structure to fail that I stop trying to defend myself with emotions. They don't care about my feelings. They never have. Under the table, hidden by the white linen, I slide my phone out of my clutch. My thumb opens the message thread with Nate. I type a single word, "Now." The message shows as delivered, then read. I put the phone away and lift my fork again, spearing a piece of asparagus as if nothing happened. Caroline! My mother's voice carries a sharp tone again, the one that used to send me running to my childhood bedroom. Stop this nonsense and apologize to your sister. For what? I take a bite of asparagus. It tastes like absolutely nothing. For getting married? For inviting my family to my wedding? Which part requires an apology? Bella's eyes shine with tears that haven't fallen yet. She's always been skilled at this, holding them right at the edge so they catch the light. I can't believe you would lie about something like this. On Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. I'm not lying. Then prove it. My father snaps. I meet his eyes across the table. Okay. Harrison Sterling shifts in his chair, clearly wishing he were anywhere else. Preston sits very still beside Bella, his lawyer instincts finally catching up to whatever his gut has already told him. The chandelier's light reflects off my wedding band. I've been wearing it the entire time. They never even noticed. Dessert will be ready in 15 minutes. A catering staff member calls from the doorway, unaware of the tension crackling through the room like static. My phone buzzes once against my leg. A text from Nate. System accessed. Ready when you are. Any time tonight. I look toward the 85-inch smart TV mounted above the fireplace in the sitting area, currently displaying a digital fire log that copies the real fire below it. Actually, I say, rising from the table, I think we should skip dessert tonight. My heels click across the hardwood as I walk toward the TV. There's something everyone needs to see. Caroline, sit down. My mother's voice has that familiar edge, the one that used to make me shrink, quieter, smaller. Not tonight. I stop in front of the TV, my back still to them. You always believe Bella without question. My voice sounds unfamiliar to me, steady, almost casual. But have you forgotten what my husband does for a living? Silence. I turn to face them. Nathaniel Vance, senior cybersecurity analyst. He works for a firm that protects Fortune 500 companies from data breaches. Trinity's mouth opens, closes, opens again. I don't see what that has to do with anything. Don't you? I remove my phone from my clutch and hold it up so they can see the screen. 3 letters glow back at them. Now. Sent 18 minutes ago. Delivered. Behind me, the TV flickers. Bella's head snaps up, tears instantly forgotten. What are you doing? The virtual fire log disappears. The screen goes black for 2 full seconds. Then it lights up again, showing something completely different. A computer desktop with a blue background and neat rows of folders. Remote access activated appears in small white text in the corner. What is this? Richard's voice is hardened. Turn that off. I designed the electrical system for this house. I say lightly, as if discussing something ordinary. Did you know that? You hired me right out of grad school. Paid me with exposure and family discount rates. I installed every smart system, every camera, every sensor. I turn back to the screen, watching the cursor move on its own. Nate, working from our home office in Austin, his fingers flying across keys 2,000 miles away. The admin password had never been changed. I continue. I recommended you change it. Remember? I sent that email. Twice. Harrison Sterling leans forward, his expression a mix of fascination and shock. Preston sits rigid beside Bella, his lawyer's mind clearly processing the implications. This is illegal, Bella whispers, her voice trembling, not with tears but panic. It's not, I reply calmly, avoiding her gaze. I'm the system administrator on record. I have full legal access. Nate is merely helping me retrieve my own files. Trinity rises, her chair scraping against the hardwood floor. Files? What files? The cursor moves to a folder. Its label makes Bella gasp. Project. Truth. I say softly. When you dismissed my career as playing with plants, you forgot I'm an architect. Architects plan ahead. We build systems to last. My father's face flushes. You had no right to put cameras in our home without telling us. I did tell you. I respond evenly. I gave you a 40-page manual. You signed off on everything. There's a camera at the front door, one at the side entrance, and one covering the driveway. All disclosed. All legal. All recording to a professional NVR system in your wine cellar. What's an NVR system? Trinity asks, her voice smaller now. A network video recorder, I explain, finally looking at her. This isn't cloud storage that deletes after 6 months. These are physical, professional-grade hard drives. Data retention, 2 years. I watch the color drain from Bella's face as she does the math, silently calculating. "You're bluffing," she whispers. I return my gaze to the screen. The cursor hovers over the folder. "Do you remember February 12th, Bella?" My voice softens almost to a gentle tone. "It was a Tuesday. Cold. You were wearing your cream cashmere coat. The FedEx driver arrived at 10:15 a.m. "Stop it." Bella snaps, panic rising. "Mom, make her stop." Preston shouts. "The package was blue," I continue. "Express overnight. 4 velvet boxes inside, wrapped in ivory ribbon. My wedding invitations." Preston turns slowly toward Bella, as if seeing her for the first time. "Turn it off." Bella screams. "Mom, make her turn it off." But Trinity remains frozen, her hand pressed to her throat, eyes locked on the screen. Too late. I hit enter on my phone. Nate receives the signal and opens the folder. The first image fills the screen in sharp high definition, a FedEx receipt. Signature line clearly visible, Isabella Montgomery, signed in her distinct looping handwriting. Date, February 12th, time, 10:15 a.m. Chaos erupts in the dining room. I stand there, phone in hand, watching my sister's carefully constructed world begin to crack, and I feel nothing but cold, precise satisfaction. "That's my signature," Bella says immediately. Her voice has lost its frantic edge, replaced by something flatter, sharper, more controlled. "So what? I signed for a package. That doesn't prove anything except that I was home that day." She's recovering faster than I expected. "Evidence 1, I say, keeping my tone neutral, clinical, like presenting designs to a demanding client. "You signed for a package from Caroline and Nate Vance on February 12th. 3 weeks after our wedding invitations were sent via FedEx overnight." "I don't remember every package I signed for," Bella replies, crossing her arms. "We get deliveries constantly. My brand partnerships alone generate dozens each week." Trinity sits up straighter, clinging to this explanation like a lifeline. That's true. Bella's business requires constant inventory management. She can't be expected to remember a single delivery from 8 months ago. Nate's cursor moves across the screen. The receipt vanishes, replaced by a screenshot of an email inbox, my mother's Gmail account. "Evidence 2, I say." The screen shows Trinity's email filters, newsletters and promotions neatly sorted into folders. But one filter is highlighted with a red flag icon. Rule name, wedding block. I read it aloud. If subject contains wedding and Caroline, then delete permanently. Skip inbox. Do not archive. The creation date is visible, February 14th. 2 days after the invitations were delivered. Installed from an IP traced back to Bella's device, her iPhone, the same one she uses to manage her Instagram account. The silence that follows is not peaceful. It's the silence of a trap snapping shut. Trinity's face turns pale. "That's not possible. I never authorized this." "Of course you didn't." I meet my mother's eyes. "Bella has your password. She's had it for years. Remember when she set up your 2-factor authentication last Christmas? She said it was for security." Preston rises slowly, staring at Bella as if seeing her for the first time. "You hacked into Mom's email." "I didn't hack anything." Bella's voice rises slightly. "I have access because Mom asked me to help manage her correspondence. She gets overwhelmed by all the emails. I manage philanthropic contacts," Trinity says weakly, including charity board communications. "By deleting emails about your daughter's wedding." Harrison Sterling interrupts, his posture now alert, engaged. Bella stands abruptly, chair scraping the floor. "Fine. Yes. I hid the invitations, but I did it to protect Mom and Dad." The room freezes. Her expression shifts from defensive to aggrieved, eyes welling with tears. Her voice trembles, not with fear, but with righteous indignation. "You sent those invitations at the last minute for some shabby vineyard in Texas. Dad has high blood pressure. Mom constantly worries about appearances, about what people think. I saw the location you picked, Caroline, the rustic barn look, and I felt fear. Fear that they would feel humiliated. Fear that the entire trip would be consumed with worry over appearances." She wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. Yes, I hid them. I threw them away. I did it out of love. I was trying to shield our parents from embarrassment. Trinity inhales sharply. I watch her expression shift. She's reaching for this new story like a drowning person clutching at driftwood. You were protecting us. Of course I was. Bella's voice cracks. Caroline always does things her own way, never considering the family's image. I couldn't let you endure a subpar wedding just because she refused to uphold our standards. It's brilliant in a twisted way. In 30 seconds, she has recast herself from villain to hero. A harmful act becomes an act of protection. A lie becomes love. Preston's frown deepens. He isn't convinced. I see the doubt in his eyes, the tension in his jaw. But my parents are already softening, ready to accept the explanation they want. I don't panic. I don't lash out. I don't give Bella the satisfaction of watching me unravel. Instead, I smile, a smile of pity. The kind you give a child trying to convince you the dog ate their homework when the torn pages are in plain view. Protecting them, I repeat softly. That's your story. It's the truth. Bella lifts her chin. Then why? I ask, each word measured. Did you toss the invitations into the recycling instead of stashing them somewhere safe? Bella blinks. What? If your goal was to protect Mom and Dad, if you were concerned for their feelings, you would have hidden the invitations. Somewhere retrievable. Somewhere secure in case your plan failed. You would have preserved them carefully. I gesture toward the screen where Nate has queued the next file. But you didn't. Did you? Preston turns, really looking at her. I was upset, Bella says quickly. I wasn't thinking clearly. That's interesting, I reply, because the video shows you thinking very clearly. I nod toward the screen. Nate presses play. The footage is crisp, perfectly clear from the front door camera above the entrance, capturing the porch and driveway. The timestamp reads February 12th, 10:14 a.m. The FedEx truck comes into view. The driver steps out, carrying a blue package. He rings the bell. Bella appears 30 seconds later, in yoga pants and a cropped hoodie, hair in a high ponytail. She smiles at the driver, signs the tablet, accepts the package. The driver leaves. Bella looks down at the box. I watch her read the return address, Caroline and Nate Vance. Her smile disappears, replaced by a cold, sharp expression. She doesn't look worried. She doesn't look protective. She looks furious. Bella scans the room, making sure no one is watching. Then she moves to the side of the house where the recycling bins sit behind a decorative lattice screen. She doesn't hesitate, pause, or open the package to check what's inside. She just tosses it into the bin as if it's trash. The 4 velvet boxes I had wrapped with care likely crushed on impact. The invitations I had lettered by hand probably bent and creased. She doesn't glance back, simply wipes her hands on her pants and walks inside. The video ends. Silence fills the dining room. Even the fire in the hearth seems to hold its breath. Preston's face is blank, carefully, deliberately blank, the look of someone witnessing their entire future unravel. There's your protection, I whisper. There's your love. The room remains tense. I watch Preston's expressions shift too quickly to name. Confusion, realization, disgust. He rises so abruptly that his chair scrapes against the hardwood floor, a sound sharp enough to make my mother flinch. You threw your sister's wedding invitations in the trash? His voice is quiet, which somehow makes it worse. Because you were afraid of sharing the spotlight? Bella reaches for his arm. Preston, I can explain. He jerks away from her. You gave her a book about dying alone when you knew she was married? He stares at Bella as if seeing her for the first time. Perhaps he is. I cannot marry a monster. The word hangs in the air, monster. Bella's face crumples. You don't understand, she's always. But Preston is already moving. He yanks the engagement ring from her finger with such force I expect the band to bend. The 3-carat diamond catches the chandelier's light one last time before he sets it on the table with a deliberate click that echoes like a gunshot. We're done, he says. My mother rushes to her feet. Preston, don't be hasty. Bella made a mistake, but surely... A mistake? Preston's laugh is harsh. Mrs. Montgomery, your daughter tampered with a man. She sabotaged her own sister's wedding. She lied to me for 8 months. He shakes his head. I wanted to marry into a family with integrity. Clearly I was mistaken. Harrison Sterling rises beside his son, his face stern. He turns to my father, who hasn't moved, his face pale and drained. "Richard," Harrison says, his voice carrying the weight of 40 years in business. "A man who cannot manage his household cannot manage a business. Your daughter is deceitful." He gestures to Bella. "And your wife enables her." He looks at my mother, whose mouth opens and closes silently. His gaze returns to my father. "And you are irresponsible. The merger project next month? Consider it cancelled. The Sterling Group will not partner with the Montgomery family." The words hit with the force of impact. I watched the remaining color drain from my father's face. That merger was meant to be his greatest accomplishment, the deal that would define his legacy. $50 million in contracts. A partnership that would have doubled his company's reach. Gone. "Harrison, please." My father finally manages. "We can discuss this privately." "There's nothing to discuss." Harrison places a hand on Preston's shoulder. "We're leaving." Bella launches out of her chair. "This is your fault." She spins toward me, rage twisting her expression. "You ruined everything. I'll destroy you. I'll tell everyone what you did, how you manipulated." No, the single word is soft, but it stops her cold. I rise slowly, smoothing my dress. "You won't." "Watch me," she snaps, voice climbing toward hysteria. "I have 2 million followers. I'm aware Massachusetts law forbids recording audio without consent." My tone stays even conversational, which means the video from tonight stays private. "I won't publish it." Bella's expression shifts, relief flickering, as if she's found a way out. However, I continue, giving the moment space to land. "The CCTV footage of you dropping that FedEx package? That's evidence of federal mail tampering. Title 18, United States Code, Section 1708. Punishable by up to 5 years in federal prison." The color drains from Bella's face. "If you say one false thing about me online, that video and a lawsuit go straight to the authorities and to your brand sponsors." I tilt my head slightly. I'm curious how Dior and Cartier will react to their ambassador being investigated for federal crimes. Bella collapses back into her chair. The sound she makes isn't quite a sob or a scream, more the noise of a carefully curated life collapsing in on itself. My mother sits frozen, hands tight in her lap. My father stares at the table, as if the answer might be hidden in the grain of the wood. I reach for the cream-colored gift box, the one with that awful app membership and the cruel book, and lift it with both hands. I walk around the table. Bella flinches when I approach, as though expecting a blow. I set the box in front of her, beside Preston's abandoned engagement ring. "Keep it," I say. "You need it more than I do now." The words feel like release. I turn. Harrison and Preston are already in the foyer collecting their coats. As I pass Harrison, he gives me a single nod, respect, perhaps, or approval. It doesn't matter. Behind me, my mother's voice rises, thin and pleading. "Caroline, wait. We can fix this. We can." But I'm already moving, through the foyer and past the marble staircase where Bella and I once posed for Christmas photos, out the massive oak doors that shut behind me with a final, conclusive thud. The December air hits my face like cold water, clean, sharp, real. My Uber waits at the end of the circular drive, exhaust drifting white in the freezing air. I slide into the back seat. The driver meets my eyes in the rearview mirror. Logan Airport. I confirm as we drive away. I allow myself one last look at the Montgomery estate. Every window glows with light, yet from this distance, it feels empty, a beautiful shell with nothing living inside. I pull out my phone and video call Nate. His face fills the screen, and the tight knot in my chest finally loosens. His hair is tousled, like he's been running his hands through it, and his eyes search mine. "Is it done?" he asks. "It's done. Mom's heating up soup for you," I reply. His smile is soft and warm, everything the house never was. "Let's go home," he says. Home. Not the place of my birth, but where I am truly loved. I nod, my voice barely trembling. "Yeah, let's go home." 3 days later, I'm unpacking groceries in our Austin kitchen when the FedEx truck arrives. Through the window, I watch the driver jog to the porch, scan a package, and return. The box sits on the welcome mat, square and flat. I know exactly what it is before opening it. Inside, a check. $50,000. The number feels obscene, penned in my father's meticulous architect's handwriting. The note is short, typed on his business letterhead, like this is just another transaction, I'm sorry. Please stay silent about the contract. Standing there in my kitchen, holding $50,000, I think about the girl who would have cashed it, the one who arrived on Christmas Eve still hoping, the one who saved their chairs at her wedding. She's gone. I tear the check into halves, then quarters, then confetti. My phone is already in hand. I arrange the pieces on the granite counter, photograph them, and open the family group chat. 3 people. Mom, Dad, Bella. I type. I don't sell my silence. I'm giving it to you freely as a parting gift. Do not contact me again. My thumb hovers over send for a few seconds, then presses down. Delivered. Read. Someone starts typing, stops, begins again. I don't wait to see their response. Instead, I scroll to the top of the chat, tap settings, and find the words I've been searching for. Leave group. Are you sure? I've never been more certain. Leave. New Year's Eve arrives with Seattle rain and the scent of Meredith's famous pot roast. Nate's family fills the living room, laughing and arguing over what movie to watch before the countdown. His sister grabs the remote. His nephew spills grape juice on the carpet. His mother hugs me tightly, the weight of her sapphire brooch pressing against my shoulder. Real. Solid. A true heirloom, passed down with love, not obligation. Come on, Nate says, taking my hand. Let's get some air before the fireworks. We step onto the back porch. The Space Needle glows in the distance, and the city hums with celebration. Nate wraps his arm around my waist, and I lean into him, breathing in rain, cedar, and freedom. Any regrets? He asks softly. I think about the empty chairs, hidden invitations, the cruel gift, and the check torn to pieces. Not one. The first firework explodes overhead, golden sparks against the black sky. Nate's family cheers inside, raising glasses, embracing one another. I'm not the Montgomery daughter anymore. I'm Caroline Vance, landscape architect, and finally, architect of my own life. I cleared the weeds. I burned out the rot. And here, in this garden I chose, something real is growing.